Welcome back. So we are almost there for a full CRUD setup now. We can create, we can read, we can update, and we can also read a single entity, but we can't delete yet. So let's just fix that in this lesson. And the delete method is a lot like the update one, except you only send the ID, you don't send the thing you actually want to delete. Now you could do that. If you wanted to be very specific, you could actually go in and send the customer and again check that the customer is actually valid. But it would be kind of a waste of data that you need to send over the wire in my mind. But still, it's up to you. You can make a second validation just like with the update. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go into Postman right here and we're going to use the delete function, of course. That's actually the one that does make sense. The naming, because it's called delete, so we know it's there. And I want to delete Bob. But of course, before I can do it, I need to go in and actually say, right here, I need to say customer service. Do we have a delete function? Yes, we do. What do we need? Well, we need to pass in the ID that we want to delete. Now that's all fine. Now it would delete the customer. And I'm actually returning a customer if I do delete him. So let's just try and jump down to the delete function in the application service just to kind of see what we actually return with a delete. We call the repo, which tries to delete something. So the customer repository, that's where I need to go. And what do we do when we delete? We actually, if we don't find him, we actually return null. Okay, so I just want to show you guys that. Because if we do get a null back, that means that we could send not found or something like that. So what I want to do is I want to add an action result here as well. Action result, it's going to return a customer like this. Because now I can actually again do the same as before. I can just return the delete customer. And now if it is null, it'll give me back a no content. But that's kind of confusing. But does that mean that the customer doesn't exist anymore? Does it mean the customer was deleted? What does it mean? So I want to be more specific. So let's just save a local variable for the customer right here. Customer. And what I want to do actually is I want to say if the customer is null, that means that I didn't find him. So I want to send a return statement. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm actually going to try and use the status code just to kind of show that. So it's a 404, that means not found. And then I can actually add a string right here. Did not find a customer with ID. And then let's just put in the ID right here. ID, there we go. So this is just another way of returning kind of custom responses right here. Let me just try and use multiple lines right here to make it easier to read. And that's actually, so Microsoft really encourage you to add the curly brackets. You don't always have to in if statements, but let's just do it just to be good guys. And then the end, if everything goes well, I'll return OK right here, just to explain that the user is now deleted, right? So again, I'm trying to be as helpful as possible to whoever's using my REST API by explaining I did not find the customer, or I did actually delete the customer. So to help out even further, I'm actually going to go down as the final thing to my OK right here, and I'm going to add a reply that's going to say customer with ID, and then I'm going to put in the ID with curly brackets right here. ID is deleted, right? So again, be as informative as possible to the users. Let's just try and see if this actually works. Again, I made a few changes right here. You could also start checking the ID if it's 0, because then I would never find him. But again, it's not that important. But notice I'm trying to really be informative with my REST API so that the user of my REST API gets good information so he can act on it and do something different if required, right? So let's try and actually delete customer with 1. We can just start out by checking if he's actually still there. So I'll just do get with 1 right here, and hopefully I get Bob back, and I'll delete Bob. I'm sorry, Bob, you gotta go. It's customer with ID 1 is deleted. Let's just try and get everybody back. Boomy. There we go. Now he's not there, and I can just get everybody to make sure that he's not even in the list. Okay, so Lars is still there, so let's try and delete. But by mistake I put in 3 instead. And let's do a send. Not found. Whoops. Okay, so it's not found. I'll just do the get again and see. Okay, there is no customer with ID of 3, but there's one with ID of 2. So let's delete him, right? So again, it's very easy if you're good at explaining to the system, to the user of your system, what's going wrong or what's happening whenever you do a request. That's it for this lesson. Now we have full CRUD. See you next time.